My name is Jordan Riordan, and the first piece of art we're going to explore is Rock Rock by Richard Lindner. It was painted in 1966 to 1967. It is oil on canvas, and its dimensions measure 5'10" by 5 feet. It's now in the Dallas Museum of Fine Arts in Dallas, Texas. This work of art is considered to be American pop, also known as popular art. American pop art originated in the 1950s and was launched in 1962 officially with the first gallery. The art as a whole was supposed to be a reaction against abstract expressionism as well as aesthetic expressionism. According to Daniel Mendelowitz, this certain movement included many various stylistic approaches to portray the mass point of view of the pop world without being biased, sympathetic to, or critical of. He says, in many ways, pop art, like much of current abstraction, displays a dispassionate concern with visual experience short of conventional social loyalties, hopes, and ideals, an enjoyment of sensation for its own sake, and a high level of unsentimental vitality. Richard Lindner was actually born in Germany, lived in Paris, and finally settled down in the United States in 1941. He is considered to be one of the forerunners of pop culture art and is also said to be transitional. Lindner loved the use of expressionist exaggeration and geometric abstraction, which truly helped characterize his art. Expressionist exaggeration often utilizes bright colors and distortion to create so-called exaggerated emotional effect. Geometric abstraction, based on the simple use of geometric forms placed in non-illusionistic space and combined into non-objective compositions, evolved as a logical conclusion of the Cubist destruction and reformulation of the established conventions of form and shape. Rock is one of his most well-known pieces of art, based off the genre rock and roll. Seen in this piece is an electric guitar with a character behind it. What is interesting is that the character is left sexless and anonymous behind dark green glasses, long hair, and leather. Behind these two main objects we see radiating bold chevron sleeve patterned stripes. Going along with the basis of pop culture's idea of art being aesthetically pleasing without the artist picking to support or deny the concept, we see that this projects an image of youth of the 60s and their music, strident, contemptuous of sentiment or prettiness, and radiating physical vitality. As far as a formal analysis goes, personally I see this piece of art as a mere open truth of rock and roll music. Really, rock was just becoming big since its emergence a little over 10 years prior. The way Lindner makes the guitar immediate the center of attention shows the emergence of a new era. He uses its size and bold colors in its entirety to help complement it and draw attention to the instrument and its beauty. As far as the character, he gives away no prejudice upon gender. He does this so that the person looking at the work sees that this form of pop art, rock and roll, is for both genders equally. Many times in history, ideas, concepts, and activities were men-oriented, but this suggests that women could enjoy rock and roll also, and be involved with it, and also play if they wanted. This bounces back to the idea that pop art is left without artist opinion and allows the viewer to enjoy themselves and make up their own opinion about the art. As mentioned earlier, Lindner uses chevron sleeve pattern stripes in the background. According to definition, this pattern depicts bands joined together at one point making a V. While of course the eye first goes to the guitar or the figure, this pattern in the background is adding a model-esque vibe in which the other objects seem to be glorified. You are drawn in by the use of non-parallel line that creates a rhythm for the viewer, drawing them to the emphasis, also known as the focal point. Another element of design used is illusion of space. The painting is flat, like what you may see in Japanese art with two-dimensional figures. This adds to the feeling of connectedness between a musician and his or her interaction with music. Rock is a painting that may first not seem like much, but truly it is full of cultural history and adds to the emergence of pop art. Lindner began to set the tone for pop art for centuries to come.
The original Superman comic came out in 1938. Superman is a fictional superhero and is considered an American icon. This first comic was the beginning of the American superhero genre. It was published by DC Comics, written by Jerry Siegal, and illustrated by Joe Shuster. The Superman comics series is still written today, but we are going to concentrate on the very first comic, Action Comics #1, Superman. Comic books are perfect examples of the type of popular artifact which is so often only condemned and rarely analyzed. Superman is the perfect example of a hidden message in American art, although the message is actually not hidden very well. Superman is a triumphant individual who arrives in a new world and strives to succeed, and who contributes by his every action to the vision of a benevolent community which unites to beat back the mob at the gates and eliminate the rot at the top. Superman is the perfect example of an immigrant that wants his country to be the best that it can be. Superman is able to help make America great by defending it from evil, which you can see him doing so in the cover of the 1938 comic. When looking at the cover, you see people running away for the fear of their lives. But you will also see one man crawling from Superman who is holding up a car that should be crushing the crawling man. Instead of fear in this crawling man's face, you see that he is smiling. This tells you that the people of America loved Superman because he is there to protect them. While the people in the comic do not know that Superman is an immigrant coming from an unknown place, the readers do. Just like the Mayflower of the England separatists, the slave ships from Africa, and the subsequent underground railroads toward freedom in the North, the sailing ships and steamers running shuttles across two oceans in the 19th century, the freedom airlifts in the 20th century, somehow the picture just isn't complete without Superman's rocket ship. During the time when the comic book came out, America was in a period where many immigrant children were ashamed of whom they were, especially the Jewish community in America. Superman, being an immigrant, gave these immigrant children a sense of American pride. On the front cover of the comic book, you see Superman defending his city from evil. This, when first looked at, is a typical picture you would see on any superhero comic book. But looking deeper into the cover, you see the red, yellow, and blue that stands out from the rest of the chaos in the picture. Superman is a flag with a human face. His red, blue, and yellow superhero costume is yet another disguise in itself. It is said to actually represent the American flag colors red, white, and blue. As America has grown to be the country we are today, we still have struggles with immigration. DC Comics has been publishing Superman comics rather consistently since the first Superman in 1938. Even throughout Superman's history, there is a major sense of nationalism. But most importantly, Superman authors have realized the connections immigrants have made with the comic. In 2013, a new Superman comic came out that portrayed Superman as the ultimate immigrant. This comic was Superman Unchained. The message in this comic is that you shouldn't be afraid to try something new, which is what all immigrants must face when coming to a new country, which only helps connect Superman more with the immigrant society. So the next time you pick up a Superman comic, you will know that Superman is not just the best superhero in the superhero genre, but he is also an icon figure in American history that has helped unite the American immigrants from 1938 to even today.